Quarantine Kale here, your host for the SuperFood Show. Do you guys feel like you're crawling out of a hole every day just to get up and video conference or try to be a teacher and do school for your kids? Well, you know, it's the world we live in right now, but you gotta figure something out to motivate yourselves, okay? You gotta get up, you gotta change clothes, you gotta take a shower, okay? You gotta figure out a way to be presentable for the world, alright? Hey, it just helps you have a sense of time. You get up, you start your day. It breaks up the sense of monotony and gives you a reference for which day it is. I know it's hard to keep track of. So get motivated, take a shower, look your best. You know, if I didn't have 5 of you out there watching these videos, I wouldn't have anything to do right now. So I really appreciate the 5 of you, and I'm not kidding. I mean, you know, it's really a thing that I appreciate, and I'll do it for how many ever of you will watch. So I appreciate those of you that tuned in to episode 1, and we're gonna get cracking here on episode 2. So thanks so much for tuning in. Let's address the elephant in the room today. Yesterday was the proposed start of baseball season for the MLB. I'm a Cardinals fan, so we had a little tribute, a little bit of a sense of mourning here on the show today, but a tribute to my team with the St. Louis Cardinals today. So, big shout out to the Cardinals, and you know, I know there's probably going to be people where I'm from, Cubs fans, watching this. Hopefully we all have a good season and we get to have a season here coming up. So, no jabs yet. The season hasn't started, so we'll keep it friendly. All right, we do have some updates in the coronavirus world. It's still going, as you saw with Quarantine Kale that started the show. But now we have officially passed a major milestone. There are more cases, confirmed cases of the coronavirus in the United States than any other country. We've passed Italy and we've passed China. Now, that's a significant milestone. We are a slightly larger country than Italy, but we're not a larger country than China. China has over 1 billion people, and you know, the U.S. is sitting at 1/3 of that. So it's a little scary to think that we've got so many cases and we haven't even hit the peak yet. We need to keep doing our part by quarantining, sheltering in place, whatever you want to call it. But we have to do our part and stop the spread. Those doctors and nurses and everybody that are fighting on the front lines, they're pleading with everybody on news talk shows and the morning news and everywhere you see it, they're pleading with people to help in this. And we can listen and do our part to stop the spread. We're also seeing an increase in testing. That's another reason why we're seeing an increase in cases. But the slow rollout of testing has contributed to the spread happening a lot faster than maybe other places. We're still seeing some states that are really ramping up. Louisiana is growing every day. That's a big place that's continuing to battle. New York has a huge amount of the cases and half of the deaths in the United States. So it's definitely, there are some hot spots across the country. Not every place is the same, but we all have to do our part and take this seriously because it's everywhere now, and you can't avoid that. Another interesting fact when it comes to cases is that we have nowhere near as many recovered cases. So most of the people that have cases here in the U.S. have not recovered yet. Our recovery numbers are below 300 at this point. which is alarming. China, they have 80-some thousand cases, and they have 70,000 people that have recovered. Even Italy has 10,000 people that have recovered. So we have more people actively in our hospitals than any other country, and it's going to become critical to our healthcare systems to stop the spread so that we can catch up in that regard and get some of these people recovered. If you didn't hear, the economic stimulus package has been passed in the House and the Senate. The Senate passed the bill on Wednesday, and the House just passed the bill earlier today. So that's great news for the economy, for Americans that are going to need those funds, for small businesses that are going to need those funds. It's a serious deal. It may still take some time, 3 weeks to 6 weeks likely, to start getting those funds. But it has passed. The president is going to sign it, and that economic stimulus is going to come. So thank you to our congressmen and women that have done their part and passed that bill, no matter what it took to get done. One thing that is also a little shocking, they've talked, continually about the death rate of this virus. I know there are people out there that think it's a hoax, that think that it's just like the flu. But when the flu has a 0.01% rate of death, and this virus, they've always been talking about, 2 to 3% rate of death, the calculation as it stands today is 4.5%. Worldwide, 4.5% of the people that get that virus have died. So that's a serious rate of death. That's why we need to take this seriously. It is even worse for those that are high risk and the elderly population, as we've seen in Italy. This is not a joke. I think we all know that by now. But when we see a death rate that's close to 5%, that's just not acceptable, and we have to do everything we can to slow the spread. All right, so a sad story going around. It was originally reported that a priest in Italy gave up his respirator to someone else, and later on he died. Well, it's actually come out. The original tweet was put out by a communications consultant for the Vatican, and it's since been retracted. It was later reported that although this priest was someone that would totally do something like that, there was really no proof to show that he had actually done this. But that's not really the point. Giuseppe Berardelli was 72 years old, and he'd been called on by the Pope to reach out to the sick in that country, and to still, be helping with the sick and the infirmed in Italy. So he was doing his duty. He was one of those people, even though he wasn't a healthcare worker, he was on the front lines, helping to comfort people and doing his part, and he got sick. What's staggering is that there are 60 priests now in Italy that have died from the virus because they were doing what they were asked to do, or what they felt called to do. And I think it's admirable. I think that they were there for others in that time, and that's a tough thing to do. But what we need to do is we need to do our part. There are so many stories of people on the front lines, stories of healthcare workers and doctors and people like this in the religious fields that are going out there and risking their lives to comfort others, take care of others, or whatever it might be to help combat the virus. We've got to reach out, and we've got to do our part to help those in need as well. I've heard stories of healthcare workers who are scared to come home to their families and interact with their children. I would be distraught if I felt like I was going to come home and give my child the virus because I'm around it all day long. So if you know anybody that's in those fields, reach out to them. Do what you can. Maybe it's just prayer. If you're a praying person and you feel like that's what you can do, lift them up in prayer. If it's providing for them financially, or grabbing them some groceries, whatever it is, let's do our part. It's not nearly the same thing, but I was out shopping yesterday and I found flour. We've been searching for days for flour because it seems like everybody's out. I found a bag of flour, and I knew that somebody else was looking for some as well. So I bought an additional bag of flour, and I took it over to them. And when I dropped it off, they gave us some yeast, which we had been having trouble finding. So if we all just band together in little ways like that, and we're helping each other find things, and we're taking care of one another, this is going to make things a whole lot easier, and we're going to get through this all together. Some weird news. It bothers me all the time, maybe more than it should. I'm not really a conspiracy theorist, but I'm definitely of the opinion that your phone spies on you. I don't think that they can take video, but definitely audio. And I have some clear instances where I believe this has happened. So the first one, they were actually talking about this on a local radio show. And on the radio show, they wanted to do an experiment. So they were talking about eye drops, like Visine eye drops, okay? And they were talking about it for a few minutes, and their goal was to see if this popped up on one of their phones, okay? I was in the car. I had just dropped my son off at school. I was driving, I think it was my day off, so I was headed back home. And I was in the car. My phone was sitting in the car with the radio on. I don't use eye drops. I don't have dry eyes. I've never ordered or done anything with eye drops. And by the time I got home, I was scrolling through, I think actually I was watching a video on YouTube, and the first ad that popped up was an ad for Visine eye drops. I was blown away, okay? I mean, just, like, I didn't even say the word. It wasn't even me in the car. It was on the radio. And this ad for eye drops popped up. I was flabbergasted and really taken aback. I called into the radio show. I told them what happened. They were shocked. It was just one of those crazy things. And I feel like from time to time it happens, and it's maybe not as shocking or immediate as that, but I've always felt like, my phone is listening in on my conversations. So today, this happened again, okay? I've been on a little bit of a personal weight loss journey, okay? To date, I've lost 58 pounds, so really excited about that. But again, that's not the point. The reality is I was talking with my wife about all of this and the need for eventually probably having to buy new clothes and things like that because I've lost so much weight. So we talked a little bit about it. I said, hey, eventually I'll be out of this size and into this size, and that was it. I don't search for weight loss things on my phone. I'm not into fad diets. Like, I'm just trying to make lifestyle changes. So there have been no searches, nothing like that the whole time. An hour later, I'm scrolling through Facebook, and up pops an ad for a weight loss drug, and the tagline underneath it is that it would help me go from a XXL to a large shirt size in X amount of time. That couldn't be more exact to what I was talking about for it to say that I would be like changing shirt sizes. I was, again, my mind was blown, okay? I just couldn't believe that something I had directly said. It was like the ad was quoting me right out of my mouth. I was blown away, like I said, just beside myself. And so I decided, I had to talk about it today. Maybe some of you guys have experienced that, some weird stuff like that. If you have, shoot us an email or give us a shout out on one of our social media handles. They'll be in the description box down below. We'd love to hear your weird stories about that as well. But, if you don't think it's happening, you're probably mistaken. I've experienced it myself. It's out there. So take precaution. I mean, there's not really much we can do to avoid it besides living off the grid, having the privacy settings on your phone just completely locked down. But, be mindful of the fact that there are people out there watching you and listening in on what you're saying and using that information to tailor marketing and whatever else towards you. All right, sports news. Okay, so, I know. It was kind of a joke on the last episode that there's no sports news, but there are really no updates, okay? There hasn't been anything much happen in the world of sports since we last talked, okay? It's basically still the same. I've even been wondering, what's ESPN like these days? I don't have cable, but are they just sitting around talking about nothing? I know last weekend they had the Ocho on. The Ocho was like an April Fool's Day joke at one point. It was, there's ESPN, ESPN2, ESPN3, ESPN College, And, ESPN kind of played a joke on themselves. ESPN ate the Ocho. And that was like the joke, and they used to have some funny stuff every once in a while. But then this past Sunday, they aired a bunch of past programming from the Ocho just for people to be entertained, because there's so little that's happening in the world of sports these days. One of those interesting things on the Ocho that I watched with my 6-year-old, let me tell you, the Ocho is pretty entertaining for a 6-year-old. So if you've got little ones that would be entertained by weird random sports, then show them ESPN the Ocho. But we watched the sign spinning World Championships. These guys are out there with these cardboard signs, flipping them all up, jumping over them, doing backflips and stuff. Just crazy stuff with their signs. And now my 6-year-old wants me to make a sign out of cardboard for him. So that'll probably be one of our projects later next week. But it's great because it gives us something to do. And props to ESPN for putting up some of that past programming, making it free and available through the app so that people could watch that. But really, there's just nothing going on in the world of sports. I think there's just a bunch of people in a room sitting around talking about news that's a week old, right? If Tom Brady hadn't jumped ship from New England and gone to Tampa Bay, there would be nothing to talk about, because it seems like that's the only thing they're talking about right now. The only other news really is about the LA Rams. The LA Rams, they changed their logo, if you didn't hear about it. We'll put it up right here for you to look at. They changed their logo and their word mark. And I think, it fits in with other Los Angeles sports teams. I think that they needed to do an update. Their logo wasn't bad, but it was time for an update. I don't see any fault in them making an update to their logo. Now, a lot of people have been critical about the update to their logo. I don't think it's that bad. I'll say that. Could it be improved upon? Yes. A website called the Daily Snark proved that. So check out their revised version. You can see the lines are a little bit more aggressive. The eye of the ram's head, looks a little more aggressive, and it definitely has a meaner tone to it, which it's a football team, so it can have that approach. I do think the logo that the small changes that they made the logo look better. I agree. Was it necessary? No. But the thing here is that if things were any different, if the NBA was wrapping up their regular season and starting into the playoffs, if MLB was gearing up for opening day, maybe we wouldn't even be talking about this. I think this is a slow news kind of thing. Everybody was just kind of looking for something to jump on, and so they just tore apart the LA Rams for their new logo. Like I said, I don't think it's that bad. The logo needed an update. Could it be better? Yes, but hey, let's move on about our day. Give the LA Rams a break. I'm sure they'll take heat again when they announce their new uniforms with these logos on it. So we'll see what happens, but I think that it was fine. All right, and in local sports news, my rec league adult co-ed slow pitch softball team, we're trying to decide whether or not we're going to play in the spring/summer league this year or wait until the fall league. So big changes coming there. We might have to slow up and wait for the fall season if the virus and everything going on affects our rec league sports for the spring/summer here. It would be a bummer. Our team name this year is the Gnomies, like we're a bunch of garden gnomes out there playing softball. Apparently we're a height challenge team, so we'll see what happens, but shout out to my Gnomies. All right, we're getting ready for that season. We always just like to throw in some segments about this. One thing we'll tell you about, SkyZone. So SkyZone is the company that I was working for until I just got recently laid off due to the virus. So just disclaimer there, I did work for SkyZone, and I plan on working for them again when we're able to reopen. But SkyZone is doing something really cool during the downtime. they are hosting virtual birthday parties. So all across the country, kids book their birthday parties at Sky Zone, and we've had to cancel hundreds, maybe thousands of birthday parties because of all this. And so now they're making available the opportunity for kids to invite friends, have a virtual birthday party, and we're going to take care of everything, or Sky Zone's going to take care of everything for you. They're going to set up invites for you to send to your friends, and they're going to set up the video link for you. And the best part is that it's completely free. So that's another great thing that's happening out in the world. If you still want to have a virtual birthday party for your kids, check out Sky Zone's virtual birthday party. We're going to put a link down in the description for you to check that out, okay? Something else cool that I came across, Blue Land soap products. What they do is they ship you glass containers for hand soap and disinfectant and glass cleaner around your house. And these glass containers are reusable, so they're environmentally friendly. There's a lot of single-use plastics. There's a lot of single-use plastics that go out for glass cleaners and things like that around the home. So I think it's a great environmentally friendly product. And what you do is you get these tablets from them. You drop the tablet in that container, you fill it up with water, and that tablet dissolves, and then you have glass cleaner or you have hand soap. So it's a really cool product. We're going to be ordering some to check them out, so I'll let you guys know how they are. Maybe we'll have a little unboxing or just show you the products here on the Superfood Show and let you know what we think of the Blue Land soap products. Again, link in the description so you can check that out for yourself as well. Lastly, I'm not going to stop talking about this, okay? You guys might get tired of it, but Tie-Dye Tuesday, okay? We want to get this going. Tie-Dye Tuesday. Order your kits to do tie-dye. Go to the local craft store, do some tie-dye. Do it with your kids. It's super fun. If you don't have kids, do some tie-dye. It's just a fun activity no matter what. So you can tie-dye your shirts, and then we're going to wear them on Tuesday, right? Use the hashtag Tie-Dye Tuesday to get it trending on social media. And let's have some fun and just togetherness with a cool idea like this. All right, Tiger King update. Last thing here. If you're not watching Tiger King, again, please watch it. But just a quick update. Joe Exotic is still in jail. Carol Baskin probably murdered her husband, okay? And Jeff Lowe, somehow, is still walking free, okay? If we need to start a letter writing campaign to Congress or email or calling your Congress people, let's do it to get Jeff Lowe behind bars, okay? Because that guy, based on everything they showed, should probably be in jail as well. It's pretty crazy. Watch Tiger King. For those of you who know what I'm talking about, you'll find that funny. Oh, also, Joe Finley, he got new teeth. He's had them since July of 2019. He said they filmed it on the show. There was plenty of shots with him with new teeth, and Netflix, the documentary makers, they chose not to put it in the show. So, awesome that Joe Finley got some new chompers, and congrats to him. All right, that's it for Tiger King news. We hope you enjoyed today's show, guys. It's been super fun to be making these. If you enjoy watching them, please like this video, subscribe to get updates about new videos, and share it with your friends on social media. I'd love to have more people watching. I can only do that with your help. So please like, subscribe, and share. Lastly, we're going to be having our first special guest on the show. I'm really pumped about this. His name is Michael Van Ness, if you guys know him. He's a DJ, magician, and entertainer from the Space Coast area of Florida's East Coast. He's going to come on our show. He's going to discuss the impact of the current situation on the entertainment and event industry, and maybe he's going to show us a magic trick or two. It'll be really fun. So if you guys know Mike Van Ness, watch the show and tune in to see him on the Superfood Show. Thanks so much, and we really appreciate you guys watching, and to all you cool cats and kittens out there, we'll see you next time.